So the main aim of this video is for us to revise all the topics that you need to know in biology before you go in an exam. So I encourage you to stay up to the end. And please, if you've not subscribed to this YouTube channel, kindly do so so that you do not miss out. And also, if you're watching me from TikTok, give it a like. If you're watching this from Facebook, make sure to follow the page. Let us look at the first part that we are going to revise in this case. So the first part that we are going to look at is on cell specialization. So we are starting with cell specialization. And the question reads, Figure 1.1 shows an animal cell as seen under an electronic microscope. So in other words, this is the detailed part of an animal cell. All right, let us look at the questions. Identify the labeled part F and G. Identify the parts labeled F and G. So if I look at the part labeled F here, we start with the part labeled F. So the part labeled F there, as you can see, this is called the rough endoplasmic reticulum. Why are we saying rough endoplasmic reticulum? Because the whole of this thing, it has this thing outside that you are able to see, and these are called ribosomes. You need to know the detailed part of a cell and also the functions. So very important that you know that part. What about the part labeled G? What is the part labeled G? So the part labeled G, you're aware that this is the nucleus, but the nucleus outside it has what you call the nuclear membrane. Then inside the nucleus, you find what you call the nucleolus, this dark part. Then also you have the nuclear pore, the opening there. Then you have the nucleoplasm, which is a fluid inside there. So we might not see clearly where the arrow is pointing, but so long you know the parts of this center part, which is the nucleus, then we are good to go. So for me here, I'm going to say this is the nuclear membrane. Okay, going to say that is the nuclear membrane. Let us just name H for the sake of naming it as we revise. This is called the mitochondrion. Okay, this is called the mitochondrion. 1, mitochondrion. 2, or more than, that is called mitochondria. Very important. Okay, let us look at what about I? What is I here? So I is the cell membrane. Okay, this is cell membrane. You are told this is an animal cell. Then if you look at these are called Golgi apparatus. Golgi apparatus. Then what else? Okay, let us look at question B. Explain the function of the part labeled H and I. Explain the function of the parts labeled H and I. Now, let me just explain a thing here. We are saying this is the cell membrane. But the way we give functions, again, matters. The function of a cell membrane is just simply to control, the function of a cell membrane is to control the entry, of materials in and out of the cell. And it is based on size. Small materials are able to pass in to the cell without difficulties and get out of the cell without difficulties. But large materials are unable to pass through into the cell. That is how it does it. The adaptation of this part is that it is selectively permeable. And that is not the function. The function is just to control the entry of material in and out of the cell. So very important. What about H? The mitochondria. Now, the mitochondrion is known as the powerhouse. And that is not the function, because some of you might say the function is the powerhouse. No. Why is it known as a powerhouse? Because it produces energy. So that is where respiration, takes place. Given the chance to write the function of this, that is exactly what you write. That is where respiration takes place. Or you can say produces energy. Suggest two cells apart from, or suggest two parts which would be present if it was a plant cell. And I'm sure by now you know the differences between the animal and the plant cell in terms of their parts, in terms of their shapes, in terms of, yeah, the parts and shape. So, suggest two cell parts which could be present in figure 1.1 if it was the plant cell. So one part that would be there would be the chloroplast. Then the other one would be the vacuole. These are only found in plant cell. So this fully answers the question. So let us proceed to look at another question still on this part. Figure 1 shows different types of specialized cells. Figure 1 shows different types of specialized cells. For space purpose, I'll put the answers here. So this is the answer 1. Or even here it can fit. Identify the cells A, B, C. This is easy. Identifying the cell. So the first one is called the nerve cell. Then, of course, the second one, which is B, is root hair cell. Then you have the ciliated. We have the ciliated cells. Okay? So, root hair cell, that is nerve cell, root hair cell, and ciliated cells. State the part of living organism in which the specialized cell B and C are normally found. So, under cell specialization, things that you should know is the type of a specialized cell, so name of a specialized cell, function, adaptations, and where it is found. Where found. So if you know this under each, then you have no problem. There are quite a number of specialized cells, both animals and plant cell. So make sure that you know those as you go in an exam. Very important. Now we proceed. State the parts of living organisms in which the specialized cells B and C are normally found. So where is B found? So B is found at the tip of the roots. At the tip of the roots. Just the end part of the roots. That is where you find root hair cell. Then what about C? C is found in the oviduct or the fallopian tube. Also found, so if you put oviduct or fallopian tube, that is correct. Then you can also put respiratory tract. So that is where you find it, respiratory tract. Explain the function of the cell in figure 1. What are the functions? So the function of the first one is just conduct nerve impulse. Conduct nerve impulse. Then what about cell B? So cell B is root hair cell, absorption of water and mineral salts. So absorption of water and mineral salts. Then C, that is the ciliated cells. Now, depend with the parts. We said they are found in the oviduct as well as in the respiratory tract. So I'm going to say in the respiratory tract, trap, or in the respiratory tract, sweep out mucus containing germs and dust. So what could be the function of this in the oviduct? So be able to give that function, please. So basically, that is what you need to write. Okay, and be straight to the point. And now on this part, let me just guide on the one for the ciliated cell. Since it's found in the oviduct, in the respiratory tract, you cannot just say sweep out dust containing or sweep out mucus containing dust and germs. Where? So you have to be specific of the parts and also the function. So very important on that part. Then figure 1.0 shows specialized cells P, Q, and R. So still on cell specialization. A. Name each of the cell P, Q, and R. This is easy. So this is question A. P, Q, and R. Now, you know some of you how you write? You write the name of a cell, P, let's say you say root hair cell. This is you writing answers, comma, red blood cell, comma, parasite cell. That is what you would write. But here they are named P, Q, and R. So if we are to write, make sure that you indicate that this is P. So P is the root hair cell. Then Q is the red blood cell. Then R is the parasite cell. Okay? Parasite cell, which is a typical plant cell. I guess I've guided on that part. You don't have to give the examiners substandard answers. I mean, not substandard answers. You need to also, in terms of you present the answers, I think matters. Then we come to B1. State the function of the part P. So you write like this. P, what is the function? I think we've discussed this already. Root hair cell, absorption of water and mineral salts. Then Q, red blood cells, which is transport oxygen. Transport oxygen to all parts of the body. Transport oxygen to all parts of the body. Then what about R? R is a parasite cell and the function is carry out photosynthesis. So carry out photosynthesis. That is the function. Now, like I said, you need to know the name, the function, the adaptations, and where it is found. So here we have a question on adaptation. That is question B 2. Explain the adaptation of P and Q. So the adaptation, some of you, the understanding of the word adaptation is what we don't know. What does the word adaptation? What does it mean? So adaptation, we are looking at special features that a cell has that enables it to perform the function stated or the function that it does. For example, P. The function of P is absorption of water and mineral salts. Now, what adaptation does the cell P has? So to answer the question here, cell P. Okay, so let me just remove this and put adaptation of P. So P, the adaptation is that it has an elongated. It has an elongated outgrowth. So please, the other thing that I will encourage you is that as you go in an exam, do not cut words. Do not cut word. For example, when you have a word here, you write, then the space finishes, then you cut it, then you start it, the half word, the other side. No. If the space is not enough, just abandon that part and start afresh. So it has an elongated outgrowth, which create large surface area for absorption, large surface area for absorption of water. Then what else aside from that? The root hair cells are numerous in number, which create also large surface area for the absorption of water. Aside from that, it has numerous mitochondria, which powers the cell or which which produces energy needed for the absorption of water and mineral salts. Quite a number of adaptations that we can talk of here. What about Q? Q is the red blood cell. What adaptation does it have? One, lacks nucleus. Lacks nucleus to create a large room for hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is a pigment to which the oxygen bind for e-transportation. So it lacks nucleus to create room for hemoglobin. It has a biconcave shape. Okay, it has a biconcave shape. Aside from that, also we can talk of what else can we talk of? So be able to suggest another adaptation that you remember on this part. Now, just like I said, the other question that you expect is where they are found. So where in the leaf is cell R found? So it is found in the lower upper epidermis. So you find it in the lower upper epidermis. Now, the other question here, or this question, can come in two different forms. You might be asked, where is it found? Or which organ of a plant? The organ where it is found is the leaf, but you've been told it is found in the leaf, but where exactly? So make sure that you differentiate questions. All right, let us look at this question. Still on cell specialization or specialized cells. Figure 1.1 and 1.2 shows specialized cells E and F. Identify the labeled part F. Identify the labeled part F. So what is this labeled part? Now here, if we are to say, if we are to say this is a white blood cell, two of the white blood cell that you learn, that is the lymphocyte and phagocyte. That would not be accurate because this is a phagocyte. So to me, I feel the answer that we go for here is to put the type of a cell that is F is phagocyte and not white blood cell. Why? Because this is a type of a white blood cell. So that is specifically a phagocyte. Then question number 2, that is on A. Which feature in the diagram enables you to identify the cell in A1 above? So it has a robbed nucleus. So what enables you to identify it is the robbed nucleus. It has a robbed nucleus. This kind of a nucleus, it is robbed. The other one, which is the lymphocyte, it has a large nucleus almost covering the whole cell. And of course, the way they do, or the way they fight infections, the way they defend the body against infection differs. And you must be aware that white blood cells defend the body against infection by, defend the body against infection. But for phagocyte, by engulfing bacteria. Then for lymphocyte, by producing antibodies. Okay, that is how it does it. Okay, that part you need to know it. Give one function of the part labeled G. What is the function of the part labeled G? So the function of the part labeled G, this is labeling, or this part is the cilia. What is the function of a cilia? So the cilia beat and in the process sweep out, if it's in the respiratory tract, sweep out dust mucus containing dust and germs. So we can say sweep or helps to sweep out mucus containing germs and dust particles. Okay. Figure 1.1 shows the group of similar cells. What term is referred to such cells? Figure 1.1 shows the group of similar cells. What term is referred to? Now, this question, to me, I have two different understanding of this. If I were to say what term is referred to such cells, two different cells or group of cells with that are similar, of course, that perform same functions. They are known as tissue. So if we were to write tissue just here, again, will not be accurate. What type of a tissue? So for me here, I'll go for ciliated tissue. Let me know what you think on this one. Suggest a region in the respiratory tract where this one is found. So we've already discussed this. So one, found in the respiratory tract, and also in the what? In the oviduct. And now when you're asked to give the function, make sure that you pick one of these region. State 2 specialized cells found in this question is repeating? Yeah, I think it's repeating. State 2 specialized cells found in plants. So you can talk of palisade cell. You can talk of the xylem. You can talk of the phloem. You can talk of the guard cell. You can talk of etc., etc. For one named specialized cell above, explain its function. The palisade is to carry out photosynthesis. The xylem is to conduct water. Then the phloem is to transport organic material. The guard cell just regulates the closing and the opening of the stomata. So, that is how you answer this question. I hope you are enjoying up to this point. So please, if you are interested to join us for physical lessons, we are found in Kabwata, just near Kabwata Primary School. And also, if you are interested for online lessons, we conduct online lessons. The numbers I'll be able to give at the end that you can get in touch. Let us continue. Figure 2.0 shows cells taken from a vascular tissue in the plant. Identify the specialized cell. So this specialized cell is the phloem cell. That is how the phloem looks like. So this is the phloem cell. Name one feature in figure 0, which enables you, figure 2.0, which enables you to identify the specialized cell in above. So it is because of this part. What do you call this? This is called the companion cell. So because of the companion cell, which letter correspond to the structure? Nucleus. So the letter that corresponds to the nucleus is A. Then, of course, the cytoplasm, the one that corresponds to the cytoplasm is D. Okay, and as you can see, the cytoplasmic strands there. Give two functions of a cell labeled above. What do you think are the functions? Okay, so one function is supply energy to the cell. And by the way, give two functions of a cell labeled B. The cell labeled B is the companion cell. So one supply energy to the supply energy. I hope you are able to see this one. Supply energy to the cell. Aside from that, supply enzymes to the cell. What do you think are other functions of the companion cell? Let me know. Let us proceed to see. With reference to the specialized cell in figure 2.0, name the process by which substances are transported in specialized cells. So the process by which the substances are transported is by the process called translocation. Translocation. Okay? Suggest two substances transported by the specialized cells. So these transport organic materials. So one of them is glucose. Then, of course, the other one, we can put amino acids. So that is what it transports. All right. So in the next part, we are going to start looking at transport across the membrane. So we are going to focus on transport across the membrane. The membrane.